My apologies. Hello everybody. I think you might not have heard me just now. It is the 4th of May, which means that our Golden Quill month of April is finished. And I'm looking forward to hear how your creative month has been. For me, it's been quite a good month. I'm satisfied with the results. I did not write my second chapter, but I did manage to finally finish my first chapter, and I have some more progression, so that's a good thing. I have many things worked out already for my second chapter, so that will be easier to write. I have done some more world building of things that I missed. I figured out several names, and for the deity that is in my first chapter, who is in my first chapter, I have a name, but I might change that in the future. I don't know yet. Hey Dida, welcome. Today here in the Netherlands, it's also a special day because today is Memorial Day. So I would like to take a moment to look at that with you guys. And tomorrow it's Liberation Day, so we'll have a look at that as well, besides the creative sessions that we do with every live stream. So how has your creative month in April been, and how is your creative month this month going so far? For me, May so far has been relatively quiet. I had to figure out a few things for this second chapter where some people are, let's just say, incognito, and I need to figure it out. I needed to figure out a few things for that. There are still some things missing, but I think that I will just wing it. I'll just write and see how that goes. And perhaps the characters will reveal more of things that are going on and things they have planned. I mean, I know the big lines, but some details, I'm missing out on a few details. So I hope that they will reveal those details to me. So, like I said, I wanted to look into a few things with you guys. And one of those is Memorial Day in the Netherlands. And let me grab something. It should be all right now, I think. Yes. Memorial Day in the Netherlands is maybe a bit different to what people overseas are used to. Here in the Netherlands, it stems from World War II. And Memorial Day is something that started as a citizen initiative. I don't know how to call it otherwise. Because there was a man who wanted to remember his father and his brother, out of the top of my head, who had both fallen in World War II. And that was picked up by the resistance, by basically the form of resistance now that the war was over. And they made it a national day of remembrance, a national Memorial Day. So it stems from that time period. And during Memorial Day, let me grab the official, or grab some text for that. During Memorial Day, we remember all the victims of World War II. That includes everybody. So not only the soldiers, but also everybody who was a victim in the concentration camps and all the civilians who were victims of bombardments, etc., etc. So that's really a lot of people. And on top of that, during the years since World War II and since that the official Memorial Day started, we have also included those who were victims of the colonial war in Indonesia and of wars and peace missions abroad. All that happened after World War II. So it's quite impressive in a way, and it is really ingrained in our society. Memorial Day is not a day of celebrations. It is really a day of remembrance, and although the official time changed, the date always remained. Well, I have to make a correction on that. The first official Memorial Day happened. I don't know the exact date. I know it's in August of 1945, and the next year it was on May 4th. May 4th, 1946, and from that day on, it was usually on that day. It changed a bit because during the years, because there were also perhaps Sundays on which people didn't want to do that, but gradually people started to think, well, you know, where one group of people might hold the Sunday as a special rest day, other groups of people might have other days. So in the end, even if the 4th of May falls on a Sunday, we will still celebrate it, or we will still have Memorial Day on a Sunday, on the 4th of May. So yeah, that's how it changed during the years. Like I said, it's something that's ingrained in our society, and you will see that we have, and you can see that at the top right of your screen, we have that torch. It's our torch of liberty, and it's also used not only on Liberation Day but also during this period. And we have an official time that's, I think, several decades already, that we all literally often stand still and have a moment that we remember our dead, remember the victims, and that is on May 4th at 8 p.m. usually. Or not usually, that's on 8 p.m. Here in the Netherlands. And we have 2 minutes of silence. And that means that it's not only the people who are, for example, at home, but you will see that trains will stop and stand still for 2 minutes. Subways will go to their next station, their next stop, and will hold there for 2 minutes. People who are, I don't know, driving on a highway, they will find a resting place and stay there for those 2 minutes at least. Radios will go off. If you are in a restaurant or in a cafe or wherever you are, you will find that sound will be turned off, no matter what kind of sound it is. And that all happens at 8 p.m. There are multiple locations in the Netherlands where we have those, I want to say get-togethers, but that's not, it doesn't really cover it, but I'm at a loss for the Dutch word right now. Or for the English word right now. My apologies. So yeah, it's an impressive thing, and you will find that it is. I mean, it's broadcasted on national television, and not only on the main channel. It's really on all the channels here in the Netherlands, including regional TV channels. It's broadcasted on the radio, things like that. So it really has an impact here. It's in school, education, people who seek asylum here are taught about it, because it's a custom here in the Netherlands. So it has a profound impact on the people here, and I want to share that a little bit with you guys in a moment. But first, I'll go to the chat. Did you say you got some done? Yes, some second drafting and some problem solving in April. Oh, perfect. It's always good when you can move on from your first draft into your second draft, and you can really solve some issues that you found and make your story better. That is why we write multiple drafts instead of just the first draft. And all those multiple drafts will help you make your story better. That's so important. And Dida, you say here in Norway too, you have a Memorial and Veterans Day on the same day. We also have a Veterans Day, similarly. I have to be honest, I don't know exactly when it is. I know, if I'm correct, it's either in June or July. If anyone from the forces happens to be in chat, just give a shout out and the exact time that it is, because even though I worked at an Air Force base, at that time I knew it, but I'm not that into that. It's quite different from how it is done in the United States, for example. So yeah. Did you say Memorial Day and Veterans Day in Norway are both on May 8th? That's close together. Incredible. So yeah, what I wanted to do, and I hope you guys will join me for that, because I'm doing the live stream right now and not tonight. I thought I would show you a little piece of our Memorial Day ceremony from last year, and then you can see how that works out. So let me grab that with you. Yeah. This is on the Dam in Amsterdam. This is where the official national ceremony will be done every year. Even during COVID times, it was quite different, but yeah, we still had that. What I forgot to say, if you look in the left corner, you see the Dutch text. Ik ben op 4 mei 2 minuten stil, which roughly translates to, on May 4th I will be silent for 2 minutes. That is the amount or the length of time that we take for the amount of the length of time that we are all silent. What I told you earlier. So that's in the top left corner, and you may see it right now, and on the video you may. It may be not really always be visible due to the video, but then at least you'll know what's there. So yeah, it's on the Dam in Amsterdam. Like you can see, there are lots of people. Those soldiers that you see that are forming the line They prepare for that with exercises because it takes a long time. The scouts, let me put my...
De Marinierskapel van de Koninklijke Marine met de proloog van de speciale 4 mei-compositie Tot de Doden.
Yeah, there's someone still talking, so I can't show you right now.
Er kwam de koning en de koningin uit het paleis om de eerste krans te leggen.
The music that is being played that you will hear later on is played by the army. Yes. This is the army orchestra. They play always at the Memorial Day ceremony. What you see here is live the Nationale Herdenking op de Dam, or the national ceremony, Remembrance ceremony on the Dam. Our forces are there, lots of people are there, and you will also see the royals. They will appear quite soon, if I'm correct. But one of the impressive things I always find is that once it starts, once those 2 minutes start, it's really very quiet. I mean, a baby might cry or something, but it's really very quiet. So that's incredible. You see that the monument. You could see the monument that has been put there, and those places. There are, you can't see it right now, but there are those stands, and we will put, or people will put the laurels, how they call that, right there later on. And there are also the children of the Scouts and other groups who will help with placing those laurels. And yeah, it's something that has, it's I don't know how to call it. It's impressive, and it's a part of our society. It's our way to remember those who have fallen in so many places. And yeah, it's like you can see, this was broadcasted on NPO2. It's one of our national broadcasters, but it's not only on NPO2, but it's also on all the other channels. This is the overview. This is a reasonable shot of the monument on the dam in Amsterdam. Okay, I think. Let's see if this is taken. Yeah, here we go. This is where you see the members of the royal house, our king and queen, and the mayor of Amsterdam, a few other people, and you will also see the NATO boss, the current NATO boss, Mark Rutte, who used to be our prime minister last year. So there you have it. And you can see people are quite serious, and that is also, I mean, that is what this is.
Zijne Majesteit de Koning en Hare Majesteit de Koningin.
His Majesty the King and Her Majesty the Queen.
Bestuurslid van het Nationaal Comité 4 en 5 mei.
And the one who is calling out the names is part of the National Committee for and 5 May. It's a special committee for Memorial Day and for Liberation Day. as you can see, there are lots of people here at the dam, including, of course, reporters. And as you can see, those lined up, those are all military people from all the forces in the Netherlands. And like I said, they have to exercise to be able to stand that long, because they really have to stand a long time to be able to be there. So they really have to exercise for that. It's incredible. I've met a few people. I know a few people who have done that.
Tijdens de nationale herdenking herdenken we allen,
and they really need to train for
burgers
that,
en
because
militairen,
otherwise they wouldn't
die in
hold
het
it.
Koninkrijk der Nederlanden of waar ook ter wereld zijn omgekomen of vermoord. Zowel tijdens de Tweede Wereldoorlog en de koloniale oorlog in Indonesië, als in oorlogssituaties
Well,
en bij
he's part of National
vredesoperaties
Committee.
daarna.
He's explaining
Alle herinneringen
what I
daaraan
told you earlier,
komen samen tijdens de nationale herdenking.
Who we are
Daarbij
remembering.
realiseren wij ons dat bij gewapende conflicten, zoals op dit moment in vele delen van de wereld, tot op de dag van vandaag
Did you ask,
onschuldige
is it worth
slachtoffers vallen.
mentioning for those not used to royals that Queen Maxima
Zo
is a
dadelijk
style icon,
om 8 uur
much admired
is
for
het
her sense
overal
of dressing
in Nederland
correctly
stil.
and very smartly.
2 minuten.
Yes, exactly.
Waarin we ons realiseren dat
Queen
wij
Maxima
hier
is
in vrijheid 2
she's not
minuten
Dutch,
stil
she's
kunnen
from,
en mogen zijn.
oh god.
Wij doen dat in blijvende
apologies,
dankbaarheid jegens allen
my memory is
die
just
waar
leaving
ook
me.
ter wereld
But
hun
yeah,
leven
she
hebben
is
gegeven
truly admired,
voor
and
onze
she is
vrijheid.
truly also very beloved here
Ter
in the Netherlands.
nagedachtenis aan allen die zijn
Both she
omgekomen,
and her daughters,
leggen zijn de majesteit de koning
they are truly
en Hare
stylish,
Majesteit de
and
koningin
they know exactly
als
what to
eerste
do
een
and what
krans
to
bij
wear,
het Nationaal
be it here in
Monument.
the Netherlands or abroad with different religions, etc. And this is where you see that King Willem-Alexander and Queen Maxima, they will place the first laurel. Argentina, yes, indeed. She's from Argentina, exactly. Yes. That last, what you heard was the first, I think the first couplet of the of our national anthem, the Wilhelmus. Don't ask me to sing the words because I don't know them. I haven't practiced them. But as you could see, Queen Maxima also sang, and King Willem Alexander did as well. They know those words. So yeah, it's a good thing. You indeed remembered correctly? Queen Maxima is from Argentina. So yeah, that's good. And you gave an excellent writing prompt. What's your color of grief, or even respect in your world? In Teagne, the color of grief, or the color of the dead, is white. And if you wear white in Teagne, people would think that you are mourning. Either that, or if you have a special outfit, people will think that you are part of the mages who take care of the dead. So yeah, that's how it's done in Teagne. I'm looking forward to hearing how it is in your world. And did you say how many kilometers of tassel string was on the dam that day? Okay, you're straight out mischievous indeed. But this is all the pretty pomp and circumstance, the seriousness and serenity. Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, on King's Day, it's all different, and we have other days where people will be really dressed up. But this is, as we call it, ingetogen. It's you show what you do, but you don't. It's not out. It's not eccentric, lavish, or something like that. So yeah, it's good, and like you say, it's a good combination. And yes, indeed, one seagull couldn't keep shut. Yeah. Yeah, that's what it is with those seagulls, and it's very pretty. Oh yeah, you're talking about the anthem. Yeah, it's impressive. The anthem refers to really centuries ago, so that's incredible. So that's part of our Memorial Day. And in our Discord server, the Fantasy Butt in Chair Tavern Discord server, we talked about Memorial Day and how it is observed in different countries. I was very surprised when one of our members initially said, "Oh, we have barbecue," and I was like, "Barbecue on Memorial Day? Wait, what? How?" But then she and others explained how Memorial Day works for them, works in the USA, and it works quite differently from how we do it here in the Netherlands. So those are things, I mean, those are things that are just differences between the Netherlands and the USA. And it's, in a way, it's also weird, but at the same time, it all comes from what the intention is for that day. And for us, it's really to remember those who have fallen in war, both World War II, that's where it started, and the wars and peace missions afterwards. And that is the only intention of Memorial Day. So having a barbecue, or like we often do, gourmetten with the little pans. Yeah, that's not something we will do on Memorial Day, but it might be something that loads of people will do on Liberation Day. But we'll get into that later on. Did you say in Corsa it's black banners, but in Conchun it's red? that shows that there's this difference between the countries. In Terganay, some things are, how should I say that? They work. They work for all the countries, because at the time, those countries all have had the same disaster, the Big Divide, and that is where people also united in a way. People had to move to other places, and so that was quite different. You will see differences in exactly how people are dressed in Terganay and how certain customs are done, but certain colors have a meaning that goes beyond one kingdom or one empire or one city-state. And of course, sometimes certain colors will be used with different meanings, and that might cause confusion, which it should, I think. So yeah, that's the fun part of it. So going to our first creative session, now that we've watched the ceremony that we hold here in the Netherlands, I would like to sort of challenge you guys for our creative writing session. Let me see if I remember that correctly. No, that's not correct. This one. Okay, this is going to be an interesting... Okay, that's also good. Oh, I need to reset the timer. I intended to set the timer at 2 minutes, but I decided that... oh, here. That it was enough to have the sounds of the actual ceremony. So yeah, I'd like to challenge you guys, if you haven't done that yet, to think about how a Memorial Day ceremony or whatever, how are the dead from wars and peace missions and things like that in your worlds remembered? How are there national ceremonies, or do people not even talk about it because, I don't know, it's a shame that they died? I can't imagine that, but I mean, they fell to, if I look at the Netherlands, those people fell to protect our nation. Those people fell because people in the concentration camps died because they were brought there by the Nazi Germans, and just because they were Jewish or they didn't look like the Nazi Germans wanted them to look, or that Nazi Germans had as a perfect picture for how people should look. Mostly it was the Jews, and I think the Sinti and the Roma, are they the same? They were deported to the concentration camps as well. Let's not forget about them. And those are the people we remember. And it has such a profound effect that works even now, 80 years later. We are 80 years later from World War II. And here in the Netherlands and here in Europe, it still lingers, that feeling. For some less, for others more. I just saw a news heading that there are only, if I'm correct, a few percentage, maybe 3 or 5%, I don't know exactly, of our of all the people in the Netherlands who have been in the war, who were living at the time of the war. World War II. I mean, if I look at my own situation, my grandparents all my grandparents had some role in the resistance. I don't know exactly what their role was, because by the time I knew about those things and I learned about those things, all my grandparents were already dead, unfortunately. So I couldn't ask them about it anymore. I do know from my parents and aunts and uncles that they didn't quite want to talk about it. So yeah, that's a tough thing, and that is why it is so important that people remember it and that people listen to those people who have been in those wars, those people who have been in those concentration camps, because in the end there were people liberated, thank God, from those concentration camps. So it's important that people listen to them and that people take their stories to heart and learn from those stories. And that is why I think May 4th and May 5th here in the Netherlands are so important for all our people, also for the youngsters, because they can still learn about it. And seeing how the world is doing right now, you know, sometimes I start to have questions. So yeah, it's important. And as an author, I think it is something, of course, depending on your story. Let me put that first. I mean, if you're writing a rom-com in a time period that has nothing to do with anything of this, then there's no need to really look into that. But if you are writing a fantasy story, usually fantasy settings have quite a history with wars and such. So in that case, you might want to look at it. Dida, you say you sort of want to change something now. Okay, I'm looking forward to hearing what you want to change. And you say, sorry, you've been missing out. Another member of the house actually found a spider in the fridge? How? The thing must be missing winter or something. Yeah. Spiders in the fridge. That's... okay. That's a new one. Incredible, incredible. I mean, why on earth would they want to go into a fridge? But maybe it was trapped there. Maybe it went in there thinking, oh, that's a nice place. And then the door was shut. Can happen. Can happen. So yeah. The next, our first creative session. Let's get into that. I will challenge you. I'd like to challenge you all. Oh, the sound is on. I totally forgot about that. My apologies. I'd like to challenge you to think about what this can be, how the victims from wars and peace missions and things like that can be remembered in your own story, in your own world. So yeah. Did you say someone's not very fond of spiders in the first place? So what's for lunch? Spider! Well, you know, in a fantasy story, depending on the size of the spider, I mean, it could be, why not? Here on Earth, I think the biggest spiders are rather poisonous, so I wouldn't go for that. War victim right here, right now, that confused spider. Yeah, most certainly. Oh my god, yeah. I mean, the fun thing with fantasy is that you can make it all the way you want, and creatures like that confused spider can also Be part of that. And those are also things to think about. And I mean, are your creatures, do you have sentient creatures in your world? Do you have sapient creatures in your world? And for the longest time I mixed those two up. My apologies for that if you ran into that in previous videos and live streams of mine. In Tergane, I have several sapient creatures, like the dragons and the flutter nymphs and a few others. And I also have several sentient beings. And they might feel something when their relatives die. So yeah, there's something. You say no, spiders are not food, they're lucky beings. Ah, they eat food. In Corsa they're a symbol for compass, since they have 8 pointers like the 8 sky direction. Ooh, interesting. So they're definitely lucky. Oh, that's excellent. Excellent. I like that. That's a nice way of thinking about spiders. That puts spiders in a positive light, and I really like that, because way too often in fantasy series, in fantasy books, spiders are mean. They want to kill the protagonists, and they will only attack and trap them in their silk, etc. But why? I mean, if you look at the spiders here on Earth, they are frightened of us. Let's be fair. And I mean, what do? They catch the little flies because they are annoying, and that helps us. So I think we should be thankful for spiders, in a way. Yeah. And the spiders in Corsa are also a symbol for the creating fate sister. Okay, they're cute even. Have you ever seen those small videos of Lucas the spider on YouTube? That little one is so cute. They made such a cute creature of that. I really love it. And I mean, creatures can be horrendous, but creatures can also be cute. Even those that instigate fear here on Earth. Why would they need to be scary in a fantasy world? That's the beauty of the fantasy world. You can literally make anything completely different. I have done that in Tergane. The flutter nymph is inspired by a very tiny sea creature, by plankton. I mean, that's tiny. That's a few centimeters at most. I think it's even smaller, out of the top of my head. So it's really tiny. And I made a creature that is visible to the naked eye. It can fit in the palm of your hand. So yeah, it's way bigger than it was, than its inspiration source is. And I also have other creatures that are really much bigger in Tergane than here on Earth. I have the traveling snail, for example, and its height is up to a human's waist, I think, out of the top of my head. What did I say? Yeah, I think a human's waist. And I have multiple creatures that are inspired by tiny critters here on Earth, and that are actually quite large in comparison. Quite large here on or in Tergane. So yeah, that's fun. And did you call them in real life house tenants? I think I saw something about that. It was some kind of joke, or I don't know. And you have 10 ants, and what do you call 10 ants living in a house? They're called tenants, something like that. So yeah, that's fun. So let's get to our first creative session. I wish you all a lot of fun. I would say use Dida's prompt. Let me see where I can find it. You should see it right now. It's not appearing for me. Why is it not appearing? Okay, let me grab... Oh, right. One moment. My apologies. Let me see if I can add that here. Okay, you know what? Dida's writing prompt was, what's your color of grief or even respect in your worlds? I should be able to pin it. Dida, are you able to pin it from the chat? Yep, here. Pin message. Yes, there it is. I'd say use that writing prompts and think about how people in your worlds remember the victims of war and peaceful missions and things like that. Good luck writing. Let's start our first session of 25 minutes or as long as you need. And I wish you a lot of fun. Let me start the timer. Yes, let's go. Have fun. Happy creating. My apologies. That is the end of our first session. I was so busy with what I was writing that I almost didn't realize that that bell was for the end of our first session. So how did it go for you guys? Did you manage to use Dida's writing prompt, what's your color of grief or even respect in your world? In my case, right now I didn't need to use it because I already have several colors defined for Tergane. It's also something, well no, it's not also something. For example, my mages have certain colors depending on what their profession is, but also depending on what their level is. And it can help distinguish them even when they are abroad, so not in the White City. And yeah, that's interesting. And in Dragon City, for example, the people have a deep or vibrant purple color that is being used, and that is with thanks to certain creatures that live in Dragon City, in lower places, in lava tubes, etc. Old lava tubes, I should say. So yeah, that's those are things that work there. Did you say you fetched water and jumped into the second rafting? Excellent, excellent. And yeah, you think you did decide definitely that black is a color not normally chosen for garments, and therefore a good banner color for grief in Corsa. Well, that's a good thing. Well, in Tergane, black is being used by certain dragon companions, for example, and also for other things. So, yeah, I think a few divisions in Nasha's organization also use black. So yeah, black is used in quite a different way in Tergane. And you say, or the other way, they like colors for wearing. Temple robes would almost always be white. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, like I said here in Tergane, it depends. White is certainly not used in temples. For the temples, it depends on which deity is being worshipped in a temple. The priests there, the high priests, will usually wear colors that are associated with those deities, and that depends. If I look at Naja and the ceremony that she's about to do, she wears her own clothing underneath the official ceremony clothing, and I think I just realized that I didn't define the colors for the ceremony clothing. I did decide on the colors for her swimming clothing that she wears underneath it, but I think I didn't decide on the clothing for the ceremony, so I'll need to fix that. And did he also say that the color is red in Khonshu is due to red belonging to the conquest lord of Tarawan? Oh, interesting. So red is for war, conquest, death, grief, and danger. That's a very good development. A sea green, perhaps for Naja. Well, I think the ceremony clothing for this particular ceremony is linked to the deity, and it could very well be turquoise, sea green, with a hint of blue. Nasha herself wears purple and turquoise swimming clothing because those are her favorite colors. And having ceremony clothing that is with those kind of colors could mix very well. It means her swimming clothing will be hidden, partially at least, for a while, until she of course goes into the water, because then she will have to shed the ceremony clothing. And you say, oh, coral, that would be a sweet one. Coral could be, but I'm thinking more about the coral creatures, and those are far more vibrant than only red. So I'm not quite sure about that yet. We'll see about it. Coral is pretty with tanned skin. Yeah, it can be. It can be indeed. But I'm for her normal clothing. I'm certainly going for the purple lavender-ish color and turquoise. And for the ceremony, I'm leaning more towards the vibrant colors of the coral creatures, as in the coral itself. And the fun thing is that coral, as it grows in the sea, it has so many colors. It's not only red. So I don't know why a coral is always associated with red, but that's okay. So yeah, it's something I'll need to decide on. But yeah, sea green might definitely be a very good option. Electric blue, silver, like fish. Well, silver is most definitely a color that is very, how do you say that? Oh God. My memory is leaving me right now. It's something people are really enthusiastic about, because silver is being found in the Circumbamboo archipelago a lot. It's the favorite, that is what I was looking for. It's a favorite color. It trumps, no pun intended, it trumps gold. And you will see in Tergnay that silver is very important, and in many locations it is more important than gold. There are, of course, locations where gold is considered to be more favorable, or people consider gold to be more favorable, not just location. Did you say you associate coral with the soft mix of peach and orange? That's interesting, because I always hear people talking about color, about coral being red, and red is, I don't know, I find that too harsh in some way. But a mix of peach and orange, leaning more towards the peaches, yeah. And a peach is definitely a pinkish peach, reddish peach is most definitely something that is also one of the favorite colors in Tergnay, and one of Nasha's favorite colors, especially with the pink peaches that are found in Tergnay, and especially in the Circumbamboo archipelago. It is something you will find in the first chapter of my book. Nasha's already treated 2 pink peaches at that moment. So yeah, it's one of the options. So that was our first creative session, and I hope that you guys had a very good session, and that you managed to do what you wanted this session. Now there's one other thing I started this live stream with, and that is Liberation Day. That is tomorrow here in the Netherlands. And Liberation Day is quite special as well, because it is directly linked also to the World War II. Liberation Day, we have a few dates and on which various parts of the Netherlands were liberated from Nazi German. The official date is May 5th. And that's tomorrow. And Liberation Day is a day of festivities. It is usually a day where people are free. It's a holiday. Well, I should say, I should correct myself on that. It's only a national holiday every 5 years. I know there was a reason, but I don't remember anymore. It used to be just for everyone every year, and then it turned to for every 5 years for everyone, and in certain professions it is every year. I don't know why they made that change. I don't remember why they made that change, I should say. And with Liberation Day, we celebrate that we are freed from Nazi German. And this year we celebrate 80 years of freedom, as you can see on the top left. 80 jaar vrijheid, or 80 years of freedom. And on the top right you can also see vrijheid deel je met elkaar, or freedom is shared with each other. And especially in these times, with everything that's going on, I think that we are lucky to live in a country where we are free, from wars, at least here in our own country. And yeah, that's an awesome day to celebrate. And that is a day where we do barbecues if we have a good weather. We have festivals, we have free markets where people will go out with the wares that they don't want anymore, things like that. So yeah, that's awesome. And there are all kinds of festivities and activities organized. I know this year there are organizations, for example, or events, I should say, for example, where people will have breakfast together, a freedom breakfast. So that's interesting. And festivals will be throughout the day. They will usually start somewhere after lunch, I think. But yeah, a lot of things are organized, and it will go on well into the night. And it's truly a feast of celebration, a feast of liberation, I should say, a celebration of liberation. And you can really feel that amongst everyone. And yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, and I really like it. And it's the fact that we can do that, now in freedom, is so good. And it shows also the sharp contrast with countries where it isn't possible, be it Ukraine or Gaza, for example, or be it because the society is so different that such a day is just not possible, because people are not really free and don't consider themselves free. They don't celebrate days that they became free from another country. It's different. It shows the difference between countries. And nowadays, I think it's very important to celebrate our freedom with everything that's going on. And I am happy that we can do that. And I hope that those who found a new home here in the Netherlands can also feel that true freedom that we have, because that is what it is all about. And I mean, I can't say I remember because I wasn't born back then yet, but you can see it in photos and videos that were made at those times, that people were so excited when they saw the Allied forces liberating their village or their town, their cities. They were celebrating those soldiers coming in because they wouldn't have to live under the rules of Nazi Germany anymore. And that made such a huge difference. And ever since, our country and also other European countries have grown from that experience, and it's incredible. I mean, if you look here in the Netherlands, we live next to Germany. Germany is our neighbor, and nowadays we have a good relationship. But Germans are not necessarily welcome here on Memorial Day because it's so laden with emotions and with everything that happened 80 years ago. So that's not possible. Angela Merkel, my apologies, who was back then, God, what is it called in English? The Bondskanzler, but I don't remember what it's called in English. Similar to the president, I think. She came to the Netherlands several years ago, but she explicitly did not hold a speech on May 4th. Instead, she did that on May 5th because she and the other organizers knew that May 4th was definitely not the day to do that. I mean, it's not that we still get angry with the Germans, but May 4th is not a day to I don't know, to have people from Germany be there to remember our victims. And of course there are victims in Germany as well, let's not forget that. And during those times there were also many people who had no other choice but to join the Nazi army and to do what they were told, because otherwise they would be punished, and that punishment might be death. So there are victims on both sides, but on May 4th we don't look at the victims in Germany, not German victims. Well, let me rephrase it, not Nazi German victims. Of course, people do feel something for the Jews and people from other religions who were deported from Germany or within Germany to concentration camps in Germany or in Poland or other places, other countries. So yeah, there's always two sides to a story. And on Liberation Day, we celebrate our own freedom from Nazi German, and it's incredible that 80 years after such a war, we can still celebrate that, and that also thanks to the people who made those photos and videos way back then. We can see what it's like, of course through the lens of those photographers and video makers, but still we can see what it was like. We can see the smiles and the vibes of people back then when they were liberated, and that is so incredible. So yeah, that it's important to celebrate it, and we are lucky to be able to celebrate it. Did you say could be because it's a while since World War II and this year it's 80 years and just then you changed the screen? I think I changed the screen to what we are now, to where we are now. Is that correct? Is that what you mean? And you say in Norway the official date is May 8th. Yeah, I know that in the Netherlands there are several dates, and that's I don't know. I know that May 5th is the official date, but I know there are regions that were. I know that there are I know there are regions that were liberated later. So yeah. Here on the screen you see that the fire of freedom is being lit, and that is being done every year, and it starts in the city of Wageningen, where in the middle of the night, from May 4th to May 5th, the fire is being lit. It's done in Wageningen because that is where the papers of surrender were signed. So that's an important place. And from Wageningen, the freedom fire is being spread with walkers, or runners, to be fair, I think, to all the festivals and other locations where Liberation Day is celebrated, to light the fires there. And this photo is not in Wageningen, because in Wageningen it's done in the middle of the night, at midnight. I think, if I remember correctly, this is done in either Den Haag or Amsterdam, one of the two. I don't quite remember. But it's a good tradition and I like it. And it's incredible how many people participate in it. It's like carrying the flame is like carrying the Olympic flame, but it's for freedom, and we carry it throughout the Netherlands. So yeah, it's special. It's very special. So yeah, for our next session, I would like to challenge you to think about how freedom or the end of a war is celebrated in your world. I know how it is celebrated in my world. I've already figured that out, and it is going to be an important part of the Terganay Chronicles, and it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. But I'd love to hear how it is done in your own country, but also how it is done in the world you've created for your books or that you are using for your books, because I think it's something that it is important to think about. And I mean, you may not have to use it extensively in your books, but a mention, or perhaps your characters witness something about it, or hear or read about it, and I think that's important as well. Yeah, so I'd like to challenge you for our next creative session to do that. So let's move on to our creative sessions. Oh, my apologies, I didn't restart. Right, there we are. I wish you all a lot of fun creating whatever you do for your project, and I'm looking forward to hear what you have created. Have fun. And that is the end of our second creative session. How did it go for you guys? I hope it went well. Yeah. And welcome, JK. My apologies, but I don't remember. That's just my brain. What I can call you, what name I can call you again. I'm sorry, my apologies for that. I am doing good. In April, I managed to finally finish my first chapter and fix everything that needed to be fixed for that. And today, here in the Netherlands, we have Memorial Day, and tomorrow we have Liberation Day. And I talked about these two things earlier in a live stream. And right now, I'm working on my second chapter, and I have to say, it's surprising me a bit. In the Discord earlier, I said that I had figured out some things, but that I still needed some details. And the fun thing is that I originally thought these two incognito men would be somewhere out in a field outside of the capital of Silk and Bamboo. And I just found them in the middle of a very busy tavern in the middle of the capital. So, yeah, I think it's going great, but totally not what I had in mind. So, yeah, that's going to be interesting. And all of a sudden, there's a little youngster that started out as maybe a dragon companion, but he's totally not a dragon companion, at least not yet. He's really a youngster, and he's tiny. Well, tiny as in scrawny, and he's small for his age, things like that. And he can go into places where other people can't go or can't easily find a way in. So he just totally flipped on me. So yeah, that's about how it's going right now. But I welcome it. I mean, sometimes you just have to go with the flow and see how it all turns out. The main thing is my two incognito men will get their information, I think. They might have to set up a rescue mission on the side as well, but we'll see about that. That's all that remains to be seen. So yeah, that's how it goes. Let's see. JK, you said you're doing pretty good. You have a slight headache. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. And you need to get cooking and get ready for your auto writing sprint starting at 10, so you will be lurking in the background. That's 10 your time, I think. So that's and in what time zone are you, if I may ask? I don't remember. I'm sorry. My brain is just right now. My memory is a bit muddled. So yeah, I don't always remember everything. My apologies for that. Dida, you had to walk off for a bit again. When can you sit in peace and quiet a little bit? Oh, I'm very sorry. I hope things will. How do I say that? Will quiet down for you this evening, the remainder of this afternoon, I should say. Soon, at least. And Dida is sending a bit of headache potion to JK. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Dida, for being so kind. Yeah, headaches are never an easy thing to have. And especially if people are depending on you and you also have plans for certain things, then headaches can be a real pita. And yeah, that's that's never good. Okay, so I originally had only 2 creative sessions in mind, But since these two men and this youngster have completely and utterly surprised me with what they are actually doing instead of what I originally had in mind or had expected they would do, I think I might do another session if you guys are all up for it. Yeah. Did you say headaches are not fun? You know that. Yeah. Unfortunately, both of us are very familiar with that. And yeah, let's just keep it at that. Luckily, I don't have them as often anymore as I used to. But yeah, they can be really awful. So I don't quite have a prompt for our third creative session yet. Let's think. I don't know. Maybe I'll think of something in a bit. So how do you guys deal with characters surprising you like this? I mean, all of a sudden this mission that these two men are on has now gotten a side mission that, or at least there might be a side mission that turns out to be a rescue mission instead of a mission to catch someone, or at least get information about someone and maybe get closer to someone. So yeah, things are evolving unexpectedly. How do you all deal with that in your stories? And Dida, you ask, how about how to make the worst sort of headache for a villain, for a hero? Ooh, that's a good writing prompt, actually. That's... I'll need to think about that. Well, that might actually... You know what? That might actually work for my main villain and one of my main characters. That's an idea. And did you say, oh, you guys are rather often willful overrunning you anytime? Yeah, it's fun. It's all part of the process, and even though I originally had something else in mind for this chapter, or let's just say a different kind of development than what's going on right now, I welcome this. It's just... I will just go with the flow, and it's how shall I say that? It's fun when characters go off script, especially when I don't have a very detailed script to begin with. So, but in this case, I did have some details, but they just threw them out the window. So yeah, I'll deal with it. And I often find that when characters do that, that either I will paint myself into a corner that I really can't get out of anymore. I've had that happen in the past. Or they make the story better. So in this case, I'd better pay attention and make sure that I don't end up in that particular corner, and that this is going to make the story better instead. Dita, you're laughing right now. And you say, oh yeah, embrace it even if it ends up somewhere else. Yeah, exactly. And defenestration, a fab English word, one of those quirky you just love. Okay, right. I don't recall. What does defenestration mean again? I don't have that right now. Okay, let me look it up. Defenestration? Oh, nice. In Dutch it's defenestratie. Because, yeah, that really makes it more clear as to what it is. Oh my god. Okay, let's see the dictionary. The action of throwing someone out of a window. Oh. Well, That can happen. Or the action of dismissing someone from a position of power or authority. Well, that is going to happen, I think, in Tekken. Not quite sure how exactly yet, but we'll see about that. Did you say throwing out of the window, that is? Yeah. And Jacob says, nice to meet you, what you're working on. That's a question for Dida. Yeah. For those who don't know, JK and I met through, I think, Shannon's live streams as the Hudson, who's also a wonderful author who has done a Kickstarter on, if I remember it correctly, I still have to read the books. I haven't read your books yet, Shannon, if you're there. It's a retelling of a mermaid-like fairy tale, but with a very different twist. So yeah, that's fun. And JK, what are you writing about again? I don't remember. My apologies. Did you say you're working on your epic fantasy series, which takes place in Corsa? And how about you? And nice to meet you too. Yeah, it's so... I like it when we get to meet other authors and exchange our experiences and stories and ideas and help each other grow in our author journey and help each other with the development of our story and overcome hurdles and things like that. And I love that. So yeah. Okay, so defenestration. Yeah, I can see that happening. I think I'll that throwing someone out of the window. I can see that happening at some point with these two characters, with these two incognito men. Although the rescue mission that I can also foresee coming in this chapter or a later chapter, that I'm not quite sure yet, because the place that this youngster is going to is not inside, it's outside. So yeah. And all of a sudden, I didn't know that, but that's one of the surprises they just gave me. All of a sudden I have a small spice market besides the normal spice market. And this small spice market is for the very expensive spices. But that's not all that's going on that spice market. So it's a bit dangerous for that little youngster to go there. But at the same time, he is one of the few people who actually can go there because he's so scrawny and so small. So we'll see how that goes. And then you say you need to make a prompt for the tavern. You think, excellent. An illegal spice market, drugs, that might be part of it. That's going on there in the back. But it's all official merchant and stuff, and all legal until you look further. If you just look superficially, it's just very expensive spices, hard to get, even in silk and bamboo, which is known for spices as well. But there are spices that don't grow in silk and bamboo, that have never grown there, that they're not used to. That's why there are expensive spices, because they have to be imported. But some kind of drugs, and indeed, Dida, you suggest powdered aphrodisiacs. Yep, and that's something that we will see later on, way later on in the story as well, and that's one of the things that is important in the Tekne Chronicles, and we will not only see that in this series, but we will also see that in the Courtesan Ways, which is another series that I have planned, and I'm not writing that yet. I'm just jotting down ideas for that, for it. But I do know that when I get stuck for some reason with the main series, I have a few side series that I can work on, and the Courtesan Ways is one of those side series. And yes, powered aphrodisiacs and other kinds of aphrodisiacs are most certainly part of that. And we will see a few, not only hints, but a few cases of that in the main series as well. How to make a dragon excited, shall we put it that way, as safe for YouTube. So it forgets its mission. That might also be part of it. I have to be honest and say that I have not even thought about that. But yeah, we will see, we will have a season in Tekne that has more of that. So yeah. And did you say plenty of spin-off options for YouTube, but no Courtesan yet? And I haven't thought of how to make a dragon so excited that it forget its mission. Well, not with those kind of things, but I mean, we will slowly move into a season where babies are born and eggs will become more available, shall we say. So yeah, it is part of it, but I haven't really let me say really got any information yet, but seeing all the development, I might get that information anytime soon now about those things. And you got walking warrior trees and floating cities on water. Excellent. Hatchlings, we want dragon hatchlings. Yep. That's the hatchlings are coming most certainly. And I mean, there are small tiny dragons, wyverns already, but the hatchlings are definitely coming. But first we have the turtle hatchlings, who are being released in the first part of the first book, not in the first chapter, because that is the preparation for the whole ceremony for the turtle release, so we'll have to wait a few chapters. I think it all depends on how it goes, but yeah. So it's so much fun. It's so much fun. So we will do one more creative session of 25 minutes, and I'm really utterly surprised, but I'm also noticing that I'm having trouble finding words. So I wanted to say I'm surprised that it's all going so well, but it's going. But since these two characters, these three characters actually, have completely surprised me, and they seem to go somewhere that I need to follow, I think it may be good to have one other session, and after that I think I will plop down on the couch and do nothing anymore today, and maybe tomorrow. I'll see about that. I'll see what the consequences are of this quite satisfying creative sessions. I know who will pay for it, but that's okay. I don't mind. In this case, I know I will be tired for a few days, but that's okay because the development is good at the moment. So, development of her story. So that's what's most important. Okay, let's do one more sprint for today, and then I'm going to call it a day. Let's go. I wish you all a lot of fun. And let's see, Dida, you had... I'm going to try to find your writing prompt that you sent. I know you sent it. I just need to find it again. Headaches, yeah, headaches. Where is it? No, not that one. Yeah, I found it. Replace the pinned message. There we go. So we have the writing prompt. How about to make the worst sort of headache for your villain or your hero? So with a lot of thanks to Dida for this last writing prompt for this last session. I wish you all a lot of fun, a happy creative writing, happy creating. Oh my god, it's really going well, I think. But yeah, happy creating, and I'll see you in 25 minutes again. And that is the end of our third, I wanted to say second, but our third creative session. How did it go for you all? I have to say, my character surprised me again. All three of them. So, that third one, that young star, I mean, he came out of the blue. And he already also had a name, apparently. Dangly. Yep, that's his name. So, I was surprised. And those two incognito men were surprised as well. So, yeah. We'll see about that. He told us that he got his name because he's always dangling from the roofs. So, getting into places where nobody can get into and dangling from the roofs. This little guy is not a dragon companion yet, but I can foresee him. I can see him becoming a companion if he manages to stay alive, that is. I mean, you never know, right? So we'll see about that. And one of the incognito men apparently is always starving. At least that is what the other incognito man says. But we'll see. They need to get their second breakfast. Yeah, that one came out of the blue, out of nowhere. I mean, yep. I had breakfast and lunch, dinner, and all of a sudden I have second breakfast. Yep, did not see that one coming. Yep, that came out of the left for me. So, I'll have to deal with that. It's a session full of surprises. But at least that little youngster is now on his way to the small spice market, the one that has the expensive spices and some other things. And those two men are seeing if they can get something to eat in that very busy tavern where they are. I mean, it's not that it's the end of the day. I mean, they came very early, so yeah, they've had their first breakfast. Apparently, they couldn't get their second breakfast. Not sure why yet, but okay. So they're trying to get something before lunch, I assume, or this may be lunch. We'll see about that. That's something I haven't got clear yet. But at the same time, come to think of it, it can't be lunch because, I'll need to think about that. This is playing at the same time that Nasha is busy with her ceremonial preparations. And that's in the morning. So this can't be lunchtime. Maybe they will get their second breakfast after all. I'll have to figure out what time second breakfast normally is. And maybe it's just for them. Things to figure out, I guess. Hi Abby, welcome. You say it went well, your creative session. Your character also surprised you. She was supposed to meet her father, but decided to meet her magical mentor instead. And you're excited to see what will happen there. Interesting. Interesting. So yeah, that's, I mean, meeting people you don't expect to meet, things happening that, I don't know, weren't supposed to happen, or that you didn't foresee coming. I mean, maybe this was supposed to happen. So yeah, it's all part of the fun, part of the writing process where that we go through. And yeah, they keep just surprising us. The fun part is, in origin, I am a discovery writer. I have worked with an outline. Well, I'm a discovery writer with a very, very rough general outline. I will put a few keywords in the outline of things that have to happen in the chapters, and basically that's it. And with that, I can easily write, or could easily write in the past, quite a long chapters, I can tell you that. And that's also surprising to me. For the Tag Chronicles, I knew I really needed an outline, because there is so much happening with so many characters that I need to keep track of, and so many foreshadowing that needs to be tracked, and so many scheming, intrigue, things like that. And when you have that, you need to make sure, or at least I need to make sure for myself, let me put it that way, that it works for me, it might not work for others. I need to make sure for myself that I have all these things in place. And based on the keywords and based on the details that I put in the outline, that's better. Based on the keywords and the details that I need in that chapter that I placed in the outline, I will just write the whole chapter. And the discovery part for me in this series is seeing how things evolve. Like for this chapter, I knew that these two men were going to be there incognito. Right now I call them Mac and Dario. Dario really is a work name. I don't yet know his final code name. Mac is the final code name for this particular character in this country, in this empire. So I knew that they were going to be there, and I roughly know why they are there, what their intentions are. They know some people, like a merchant on the spice market. Rather, I have to correct that. I know they already knew someone in the capital of Sokamambu. They've been there before. I just didn't know that he's a salt merchant. That's a detail they hadn't revealed to me yet. So that's one of those discovery things. Where I thought that they would start outside the capital, somewhere in a field or something, they just were in the middle of the capital in a very busy tavern. It's going great. So that's also part of the discovery writing. I mean, I could have started on that field, but it didn't feel good. I originally, when I started writing this chapter, I started writing it with that field in mind, and it very soon wasn't a field anymore, and it was very quickly it became that very busy tavern. So, I mean, yeah, that just happened. And that's part of my creative process. That's part of my discovery writing. And you know what? I don't mind. I like it, and for me that works. My outline is more a guideline to me, for things that need to happen, events that need to happen, and details that need to be somehow in that story, in that chapter or in that scene, and how those details come about, that's okay. I don't mind if it comes about in a different way than I had originally in mind. I think it can for me, I think it can make my stories better. I mean, that doesn't work like that for everybody. I know that very well. But for me, that works that way. And I mean, maybe at my third draft, I might find that it really doesn't work the way I wrote it. But you know what? That's what drafts are for. That's the beauty of using multiple drafts instead of perfecting that one chapter. I had a lot of trouble with my first draft, or with my first chapter, not because I wanted my chapter to be perfect, but I wanted to have all the elements in there that needed to be in there. And it took me a long time to transform what was in my head onto paper. Well, into my laptop, but you get the point. And that is what took me so long. And I have a feeling that I will have that basically with every chapter. Because at least currently, with the way my brain currently works, because it's not really working as it should. But you know what? I don't care about that. Well, I do, but I also don't want to be hung up on that. So I will just keep on going with the knowledge that it will take quite a few sessions, days, weeks, whatever, before my chapter is finished. Finished as in finished good enough for a first draft, that where my chapter has all the elements that it needs to have to progress the story and to progress the storyline, to progress the character lines, and that's it. I mean, later on in other drafts, I might find that I need more information because of things that have happened later on in the story. So yeah, that's different than already knowing what should be in this chapter, but simply not being able to transform it from my mind to my laptop, to my manuscript. So yeah, I know it's gonna take a while, but in the end I'm gonna make it, and that's what's important. So yeah, these three characters have utterly surprised me today. Yeah, I just did not see that one coming. I mean, the boy being called Dangly, yeah, just I'm just going with the flow right now. as for that respect, I mean, I don't think I have any other way to do that. But that's all good. So yeah, 3 sessions, and I told you guys all about Memorial Day here in the Netherlands, about Liberation Day here in the Netherlands, and I thank you all for joining me also in the 2-minute silence that we have, that I showed you from the previous year. After all, we have that 2-minute silence tonight. That's in about 4 hours, a little over 4 hours, a little under 4 hours, I should say. So we have that moment of silence, that ceremony, and I am happy to be able that I was able to show you guys how it is done with footage from last year, and I'm glad that you guys joined and were able to see how it is done here in the Netherlands, at least for that a little bit. And who knows, maybe I can show you later a little bit more of Liberation Day. I'm not quite sure yet, but who knows what's coming up for the coming weeks. Let me finish the live stream with that. I'm finishing up my next writing vlog, so that's coming up. And in a few weeks' time, I will go to the National Maritime Museum here in the Netherlands, and I hope I will be able to do an interview there with someone where I can ask all kinds of questions about ships, not ancient ships, but old ships, centuries old ships, and life on board of ships and things like that, how ships were built, how life was on board, what could people eat or not eat, what was available, where did they sleep, where was, I don't know, all things like that. If you have questions about centuries old ships that you would like to see answered because you would like to use it in your own stories, post it in the comments below, or join our Fantasy Butt in Chair Tavern Discord, and you'll find the link in the description box below. And I will see if I can ask those questions when I visit the museum. I hope I can. I'll make a video of that. It will take a little while because I can imagine it's going to be a long video. So it will take a little while before that's finished, but that's one more that's coming up. I think that's about it. And the next live stream, let me see, when did I plan that? I will be going back to the Saturday, which was my normal live stream moment. I did it today on a Sunday because today was May 4th, our Memorial Day, and I wanted to share that with you guys. But the next live stream is going to be on a Saturday again, 1 p.m. Central European summertime in this case, Amsterdam time, and I will do that, I think it's going to be May 17th. I need to check it in my calendar. Yeah. If I'm correct, it's May 17th. Yep. May 17th, 1 p.m. Central European summertime, Amsterdam time. And I have no idea yet what we'll talk about. But I was thinking, and I would love to hear your opinions about it. So let me know in the comments or in the Discord. I was thinking about doing the live streams more like I did today, with more informational sessions and creative sessions. So that you can both learn from whatever topic we talk about, and have the creative sessions. So I would love to hear if you are interested in that, or if you would prefer to only have the creative sessions. I would love to hear that. And yep, that's it. So let me know in the comments or in the Discord, and I wish you a wonderful Sunday and perhaps a magical Monday with Liberation Day as well.